Hi, I'm Larry London. Welcome to Border Crossings. Today, we welcome a Nigerian singer-songwriter, Nneka. She sings in English and Igbo and has traveled the world spreading the message in her music. A strong-willed, self-made woman, Nneka has toured with Femi Kuti, Gnarls Barkley, and many others. She performed at the 2010 FIFA World Cup in Africa and is on tour right now for her latest CD, My Fairy Tales. Nneka says Bob Marley has been her main inspiration, and this hour we'll discuss her music and her many other influences. She's traveled the world and included many different experiences and stories in her music, and she'll share some with us. Stick around for today's guest, Nneka, coming up on Border Crossings. Hi, this is Border Crossings. My name's Larry London. We welcome you to our program today, and featured in the spotlight here on VOA TV, Nneka, who is currently on tour for My Fairy Tales, which is a brand new album. It's her fourth album, and we say hello to Nneka. Welcome to DC.
Thank you.
And to VOA. It's great to have you here.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Now, can you describe your music? What is I've read so many different things, from hip-hop to reggae, all kinds of different descriptions for your music. How do you describe the music that you make?
Well, content-wise, it is conscious. Sound-wise, it is a mix of Afrobeat, soul, reggae, hip-hop, high life, with Nigerian influence, mainly Nigerian influence, since I'm partly from Nigeria.
Right. You grew up in Nigeria.
Yes.
We have a lot of listeners in Nigeria. We're broadcasting there right now, so you can say hello to everybody at home.
On a day, everybody in Nneka. How far?
And you're involved with a charity in Ghana, I read, some foundation. You also are promoting that?
Yes, it's the African Women's Development Fund. And I've been their ambassador for arts and culture for about 2 years now. So we do performances, we motivate local artists to go into music. We also support women in rural areas. Women who've been, who want to come up with their own businesses, who want to become entrepreneurs, as well as women who've been through a lot, been abused as well. And my organization, I have my own personal NGO, which is called the Rope Foundation, partners with the AWDF in Ghana. Yeah.
Now, in other parts of the world, there's more attention given to women's rights. Would you say that in Africa, it's getting the attention now that that subject deserves? I mean, women's rights, equality.
Well, gradually, I think things are changing. And women are becoming more involved in politics, also more courageous to speak out their minds. I guess with technology as well, having an influence on Africa, definitely people are more motivated and more connected around the world. So I think that kind of also triggers people to be more, or women to be more outspoken. Or go into politics.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We need more of that. And so, as far as your career and your music goes, you kind of put out your first EP in 2003, I read. And so now this is your fourth album, My Fairy Tales?
Actually, the fifth one.
Fifth album?
Yes.
Wow. That's exciting. And what is this? Is there a story going on in the album? Is it a concept album?
Well,
something called My Fairy Tales?
Yes. It's a positive title this time around. Most of the time I choose very dark titles for the albums. Like Soul is Heavy, No Longer at Ease, Victim of Truth. This time around I think I got my inspiration from a different direction this time. It was more like from the light side of life. Though I'm stressing a lot of issues that are quite heavy to digest. Fairy tales, it's about love, it's about, hate, it's about corruption, it's about injustice, it's about, the solutions that possible solutions to the problems that we ourselves create.
And so you're going to sing some music for us while you're here.
Yes.
With the first song, what are you going to sing?
It will be Shining Star.
Shining Star. You wrote this?
Yes.
And tell me the story behind this song.
Well, It's one of those songs that is very light and very, loving and la la la, which is very rare. I write stuff that is, like I said earlier on, very melancholic and miserable. They say. So I decided to take my time out this time and see if I could come up with something more positive, though I wasn't feeling it when I was writing it.
Nneka's our guest here on Border Crossings.
In this madness, in this world, with its swiftness and its coldness, you're my peace of mind. When the world just keeps turning and I know not where to head to, you're my peace of mind. And when I look up in the skies, it's the order you've created. Nothing else does count. For your everlasting love, oh Lord. Your everlasting love, beautiful star, when you smile down to me. Oh, what you are. Despite my greed, you won't adjust me. Times your heart strict, still you love me. I appreciate your love. And though you seem so far away, you were so near. I can feel you. Your lighted words within my mind. And I know you're sometimes lonely. Oh, I wish that I could change it. All that I know is you got me. Love, yeah, and I pray my love will give you life to up your beat, to keep your smile. You're my shining star, so take my love and live. Take my love and live. Beautiful star. You are, yeah, yeah. When you look down at me, beautiful star, yeah, yeah. When you smile down at me, what you I love, what you I love. When you look down at me. You're my breath of life. You're my light in my darkness. Oh, and I know nowhere to head to. You shine. You're my candle. Never seizes light. When my world is dark, 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 you hold me down. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Oh, I wonder what you are. Up above, you're so wide. You give me life. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. How I wonder what you are. Up above the world, like a diamond, you give me life. Like a diamond, you shine your light.
Beautiful. Yeah, lovely. Nneka's in our studios. It's My Fairy Tales, the new album. Interesting instrument. I mean, basically a guitar, but that's got very different sounds to it. Yes. Where did you, pick that up?
I saw a friend of mine who was playing with it, and then I decided to go and look for it. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure I'm supposed to mention brands.
Oh, go right ahead.
Well,
it's beautiful. I mean, it's got a great sound, a different sound.
Yamaha.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like it. It's very, very nice. And so when you're on tour, and the tour started at the beginning of June, and I guess it's winding down now. You're coming down to the last few shows.
In America.
In America. Then the tour goes where?
To Europe.
Europe. And then
Africa.
And back to Africa. So the kinds of fans, we were talking before the show started about the different kinds of fans. You had a gentleman dancing to your music at one show, which kind of caught your eye, made a connection with.
Yes.
I mean, all of the fans, different ages, I'd imagine. Your music appeals to kind of a diverse...
Teenagers, young, old.
And they come from all around the world to see.
All around the world. Yesterday there were two people also from all the way from Florida. And some came from Miami. Mm-hmm. It was just intense. Driving 6 hours to come and see a gig.
Wow.
Is heavy.
Well, you got a lot of fans.
Thank God.
When did you decide it was music that you wanted to pursue? At what point in your life? And how did that decision come?
I never decided. It was always something that I felt, connected to, and I did in my privacy, especially in Nigeria, growing up in Nigeria, where there's a lot of, noise and insanity. So I had to, the moments where I take myself out were the moments where I could have that time to connect to God within the music I do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And who do you like to listen to? I know you've been compared to Erykah Badu and Nina Cherry.
That's just because of the looks. Everybody, as long as the person is black, has an afro, and is carrying a guitar, they might just put you somewhere where,
So what do you like?
Put you.
What do you like?
I love Erykah. Mm-hmm. We've met. We've actually worked together too. Mm-hmm. It's great to be compared to people as such, of course, and because of what they stand for and the message they stand for. So there, I definitely connect. It's cool to be compared, but some people, I think we still need to also look at people individually, and light is light, and the LED lamp is not what's the other? Yeah, a LED lamp is not a yellow lamp, for instance.
Right.
Or a shovel is not a spade.
Right. So you like listening to Bob Marley. That was one person who had some influence in the music direction you went to.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. But I don't know every song by Bob Marley. I will lie to you. I'm connected to a few songs, and of course the movement and what he stands for, as well as Fela and Anikulapo Kuti, who's from Nigeria. It's also quite similar from, I think, the vibe to Bob Marley. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, you're coming back to America to tour after this tour ends now? Is this something you want to do? Is this the first time here, or have you been here before touring?
I've been here.
You've been here before. So, all right, well, if you wouldn't mind doing another song, we'd like to hear something else. What's this one called?
This one's called My Home.
I assume it's about Nigeria.
Is a wonder through the darkest dark. Oh no, I don't know what tomorrow will bring. For you said that when I know how to suffer, we never see good. Lord, I depend on you. Where do I go when this world forsakes me, Lord? Who do I turn to when they put me down? You were my hope, oh Lord, my beginning, my middle, trust in thee, oh Lord. For mankind has disappointed me now, oh no. See me weary, for I am no Father, Father, Jah, oh save me now, for I am dying. Where do I go when this world forsakes me, love? Who do I turn to, when they put me down? You are my hope, oh love, yeah, my beginning, my middle, my end. Where do I go, Lord, when this breath forsakes me, love? Who do I turn to when they put me down? You are my hope, oh love, my beginning, my middle, my yeah.
Nneka here on VOA TV on Border Crossings. And so I get a lot of email from listeners throughout Africa who aspire to be musicians. As somebody who's done it herself, who's turned yourself into a very successful musician from Nigeria, what would you advise them, people in Africa? How do they get heard and discovered?
Well, first of all, I think you have to be confident about what you do, about your artistry, 100% sure why you're doing what you're doing. Because there are many artists out there who are there for the fame and for the money and to probably also get out of certain circumstances or conditions. So you have to be sure, I think, what you do. Secondly, just do not necessarily adapt to what other people want from you. You can negotiate to be open-minded and listen to what people have to tell you. But do not, throw yourself at any deal just because you want to get somewhere. Yeah, and just do your music every day, practice your skills, learn your skills, master your
How did you get discovered?
How I got discovered? I went to the independent label that I was signed on for about 3 years before Sony bought the company that I was signed to. So what happened was I was working in Germany. I was doing 3 jobs to finance my studies, and the main job that brought money in, the lady just fired me after 4 or 5 months. But I asked why she fired me, just to let you know, but she never really came out with
no answer, huh?
Because I did everything. I really did everything to stay there. Anyway, cut long story short, I was in town running around. I always have my CDs and my demo tapes with me. So there was this day I was running around looking for a job when I then saw a signboard called that was saying "Yo Mama," and underneath "Mother is the best." And that's the meaning of my name. Nneka means mother is supreme. And I knew that I had heard Yo Mama before from a different artist who was signed to that label. So I was like, everything kind of came together in that moment. So I decided to go upstairs and ask if I could speak to the person in charge. And it was that time it was Martin Schumacher who was the boss. And he allowed me come into his office and show him my music. It was a rainy day, I remember too. But he allowed me to come in, play my music, 3 songs, and then he stayed in touch with me. After 2 months, they offered me a record deal.
Wow, that's a great story. And now you're with Bush Queen Music.
Oh, that's my own label.
Your own label?
Yes.
So you're an entrepreneur, like you were talking about before.
Yeah, I try.
Are you signing other artists to your record company?
I have one artist called Oromio. He's Nigerian, and he does Yoruba music.
Well, that's great. And so the tour continues. The album is out now. My Fairy Tales, the fifth album. And New York Times said it was your fourth, so I was going by what they said. So it's the fifth album.
I think the fourth official in the States. Fifth worldwide.
But you fifth worldwide. Okay, gotcha. And so very proud of this album. Tell me some of the songs that are your favorites on this album and why. What's the reason behind you would select one or two songs, three songs as the ones you like most? I know you like them all. They're all your children, but...
Not necessarily. I like a song called Pray For You. I Pray For You. It stresses the issue of Boko Haram and the problem of religious crisis in Nigeria, and how innocent blood has been shed due to the existence of religion, people fighting, which religion is the major one to be for Africa or for Nigeria, in the name of God, which contradicts itself. And then, of course, that same song going out to corrupt politicians and the corrupt West that does not necessarily seem that they are corrupt. Yeah, and their presence in Africa as well, and how we allow, how our leaders allow people, the West to just come and control, take resources. Yes, that. And of course, also about the responsibilities that we as Nigerians have to take for ourselves and not just blame it on the West alone. So it's two-sided. That's I Pray For You. And the second song that I like is Belief System, which is about the African in diaspora, an African who has left Africa because he feels he has to find comfort abroad. He crosses borders, crosses oceans, risks his life, arrives in the West, and realizes that he actually cannot be himself anymore because he becomes, so to say, a slave in a foreign land. So all the things he does just to be more comfortable, go through racism, prejudice, not necessarily be integrated into society. So those issues, yeah. And then, of course, the more positive aspects, how cultures meet, African, Western, intercultural relationships, and the positive of bringing different people together. And then My Love, which is the single, and My Love is wishful thinking. It's wishful thinking, but I every day when I sing that song, I get closer to it becoming reality.
And I know the people in Nigeria are very happy and optimistic with a new presidential election. So we'll think positive thoughts.
Yes, that's very important. We cannot recite the negativity anymore.
That's right. Yes. Nneka is our guest, and I'm going to ask if you do another song for us. Love to hear some more music.
Okay.
Then fish and water empty. Then God chop and oil plenty. God take resources away. God take all our riches. Then God use us as them store for our material to make them rich. But brother, bros, waiting, sister, sis, waiting. Suffering with my soul. Suffering with my soul. with my soul. Tell me what's not gonna do. Cause I'm lost in the sins, in the flesh of the world. Lord, forgive. Won't you save my soul from dying? I got sorry, I got sorry, I got sorry. You don't say why you did do me like this, but right now I'm not gonna take I'm no more. I go open my mouth, tell you it's naughty, figure. Suffering with my soul. Suffering with my soul. Suffering with my soul. Don't you tamper with my soul again. Suffering with my soul. Suffering with my heart. Suffering with my soul. Don't you tamper my waiting. We do again. Waiting. They do.
Love it. Sounds great. Beautiful. Nneka is our guest here on Border Crossings. The new album, My Fairy Tales. Did you have a hand in the artwork on the cover? It looks absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, if I ever handed it in.
No, did you have a hand in it?
Oh, yes,
Were you a
yes,
part
of
of the designing of this? Because this is
always.
you're obviously there's other things going on in the photo.
Yes.
So
it's me.
and then there's people around you, and what do they signify?
I'm reading out of a book, the Book of Life. Mm-hmm. On the left-hand side is fella depicted on the left. Mm-hmm. I'm left-handed.
Oh,
so everything
okay.
on the left there is positive. The children behind me are looking into the book and are smiling, which is positive side of life. On the left is war, tragedy. On the right. Ooh, on the right. Yes, and the children are shocked and quite surprised about what is happening. So literally, it's a preparation to let children know also, to prepare them for the polarity in life, and that pain and pleasure are one.
A lot of people don't realize how much thought goes into an album cover, creating a photo for an album cover. It's been a pleasure to meet you and to have you here in D.C. and on the Voice of America. And, the tour will end here in the U.S. and then you're off around the world. But when you come back to D.C., please join us again.
I'd love to.
We'd love to have you
me?
back. Oh, absolutely. We'd love to have you back. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for coming in. Our guest has been Nneka, and the new album is My Fairy Tales. This is Border Crossings on VOA TV.